Welcome to lesson number 6. In the previous lesson we learned to solve Diophantine equations, and we also looked at congruence relationship between two given integers through modulo n. We are continuing on that, and today we are going to define what's called congruence classes. Sometimes you will see them written equivalence classes. So what is a congruence class? The congruence class modulo m of an integer a is written square brackets a, and I write m here, that's the modulo m, and it's defined to be this set. So what's in this set? In the congruence class we have x belongs to integers, so we have integers which are related to a. So that means the congruence class of a has all the integers connected to integer a through the congruence modulo m relationship. So if I have an integer a, then all the integers that's connected to this integer a through the congruence modulo m relationship belong to that congruence class. Let's look at an example. Suppose I take my m is a fixed positive integer, let's say m is 3. In that case I can look for the integer 0 and see, okay, what are the numbers that's connected to integer 0 through this congruence modulo relationship, and all those integers that's connected to the integer 0 belong to the congruence class. So that means I want to look for all the x's which are, I'm sorry, these should be integers here. I'm looking for all the integers which are connected to 0. So x is an integer connected to 0 through the congruence modulo relationship. What that means is that x minus a must get divided by m. So m is 3. So what we want is 3 to divide x minus 0. So what are the numbers? You can see that 3, 6, 9, all these numbers get divided by 3. We can see all the integers connected to 0 are these numbers. And we can also look for integers connected to 1. So that means I need to look for all the x's which are connected to 1 through the modulo 3 relationship. That means x minus 1 must be divided by 3, and you will see that these are the numbers. And then finally for 2. And if you look at these three sets carefully, you are going to see that all the integers are captured. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So all the integers gets captured in these three sets. So what we say that the collection of integers, the set of integers, gets partitioned, gets divided into these three congruence classes. So I can draw it schematically like this. Suppose this is all the integers, then the integers gets divided into three separate areas through the modulo 3 relationship. Now, if you tried a different modulo, say if you tried modulo 4 or 5 or some other positive number, then a similar thing is going to happen. Your integers will get partitioned off into these equivalence classes or the congruence classes. So for each integer we can find its congruence class, and these congruence classes partition your integer collection. We define the congruence classes modulo m. So in general, if you have m is a fixed positive number, then for modulo m we have these congruence classes for integer 0, 1, 2 and n minus 1. And what we can do is use all these sets and define a new set called Zm. So this is a new set, and we can define that to be the collection of the congruence classes. So I have all these congruence classes, so the collection of all the congruence classes is defined by this set. then you will notice that this set that we just defined is a set of sets, because in this set each element itself is a set. The cardinality of the set is Zm. Zm is M because it has only M elements, but it's a finite set with M elements, but its elements, each of the congruence classes is an infinite set, because in a congruence class you will have an infinite number of integers which are connected to that integer. So we can look at some of the properties of these congruence classes. So let M be a fixed positive integer. Then for any integer A must belong to its congruence class, because A is related to A. We know that A minus A gets divided by M. So any integer is related to itself, therefore any integer is in its own equivalence class. If A is related to if A is in the congruence class of an integer B, then B, that integer B, must also be in the congruence class of A. I wanted to write this. M should be out here. Let me take it again. So part 2. If A is in the congruence class of B, then B, the integer B, must be in the congruence class of integer A. And the congruence classes must be equal. Because if A is in the congruence class of integer B, then A and B are related. And if A and B are related from congruence relationship, we know that B and A are related, because it was a symmetric relationship of congruence. So then B and A are related, therefore B must be in the congruence class of A. Then I should write this A, M. And therefore the congruence classes are equal sets. So here's an example. Suppose you want to look at the congruence class of 1 is the same as the congruence class of 4, because 1 and 4 are related through modulo 3. 1 minus 4 gets divided by 3. And also you will see that congruence class of 7 is the same, because if you look at all these integers, all these congruence classes are identical. So that's why we don't need to look at, we have only, for modulo M, we will have only M distinct congruence classes. Because the next one here, M minus 1 and then the M, is identical to this. So therefore, we don't have to look at the congruence class for M, because that's here. So we will only work with these congruence classes. We are going to look at algebra on Zm. That's what we do in mathematics. We define something and then we see what can we do with them. That's what we did throughout this course. We defined statements and then look to see how can we combine statements. We can use and, or, not, if, then, if and only if, or not, to combine statements. We define sets and we can use 3 operations, union, intersection and difference, to combine sets. We defined functions, and we have operations that we can use to combine functions: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division and composition. We define numbers, integers or rational or whatever, and you can add, subtract, multiply, divide, square root. So there are ways to combine them. So this is what we do. So we looked at congruences and the congruence relations, and we can add them, subtract them, multiply them and divide sometimes. Now we have a different elements. These are different collections. Zm is a set and it has entries in it and objects in this set. And what do we do with these things? Yeah, we do what we do best. We add them, subtract them, multiply them, and see what we get. So addition of congruence classes is very easy. It's the simplest thing. If you have two congruence classes, remember these are sets, but I can just add them, and A plus B is A plus B. And I stopped writing this M here for the congruence class, because now you're familiar with this. We are looking only for M here, so I'm not going to write that subscript of that M. So I can add any two congruence classes. So I have this congruence class, this is the set of all the elements, there is another set. I can add these two sets and get this set. So I can subtract two congruence classes just like that. I can multiply two congruence classes just like that. Here is an example for you to see. So if I pick some number M is to be 7, then this is my Z7 set, and it has 7 objects starting with the 0 congruence class, 1 congruence class, and so on up to 6. And now I can subtract anything. So if I choose 3 and 5, I add them and I get 8. The congruence class of 8 is also the congruence class of 1, because 8 is connected to 1 through modulo 7. So that's your answer. I can subtract. If I subtract, I get -2, and then I need to see, because these called the principal classes, and if -2, the congruence class of -2